And welcome back, everyone. Welcome back to day number 2, day 2 of the Masters Coliseum number 6. I'm, of course, VIP, and with me, I'm joined by the lovely plushies beside me and the beautiful people in the chat as well. We had an intense, a crazy day 1 of Masters Coliseum, and now here we are to conclude Group A. The first half was played yesterday, and now the second half is played tonight, right before your eyes. And this is, again, coming down to the wire for a lot of these players. Maru had a rough day. He had a rough day last night, taking some L's to players like MaxPax, to players like Cyril as well. But he started reclaiming, or kind of getting his revenge a little bit by having a strong series against Gumiho. And now Maru, he needs to win every series moving forward here if he wants to make out of the group. And here he is spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Gressman. Bonsai Gaming, Maru. And top left-hand corner from Canada, it is a Trigger. Oh. Okay, hold on, I'll try and sync up. My apologies. But yes, we are here. We have returned. Hopefully everything is okay when it comes to the syncing of the clean feed, and if it is not, then we can all just join the next lobby and we'll probably go in game, and as I have to, we'll fix it. It's all good. For now, we are getting into game number 1 between Maru and Trigger, and this is a bit of a rematch. They faced off in WTL in World Team League a month ago, and my oh my, it was a banger of a best of 2 between these two players. It went all the way to the late game on this map on Gressvan. And Trigger, he made Maru sweat a little bit. It was really cool to see them go back and forth. It was really cool to see them duke it out. But we'll see if the same can happen again. We'll see if they can go back and forth. For the time being, standard openers here. We do see Maru going for his racks. We see him going for, I believe, a double gas opener. So a little bit more aggressive out of Maru. Likewise, Trigger, just going to be scouting, just making sure everything is on the up and up, making sure that the racks is at home, not out on the map. Making sure there's no proxy. Likewise, Trigger also had a rough day yesterday as well. I was kind of praising his PVT, but coming into a series against Gumiho just refused to let him play his game. Dude, Gumiho was hyper aggressive, just constantly in at Trigger's face, and he just didn't quite have the best of times. But again, Trigger, I do still want to praise his PVT. I still want to say that he can go toe-to-toe with the best Terrans out there. So we'll see if that's going to be the case here tonight as well. As Maru, likewise, is also checking for proxy pylons, checking for a proxy Stargate as well. Again, Maru does play against Hero very often, so I don't blame him whatsoever for just checking, making sure that everything is also tried and true here from Trigger as well. Making sure. Just catching up with the chat. Outside of this is going to be a Twilight Council opener, which is to be expected. Trigger, I don't know how often he really goes into Stargate openers, but we have been seeing a lot of Twilight Councils instead from Trigger. Is going to be heading towards Blink. Meanwhile, across the map, Maru getting into his CC on the high ground, into his 1-1-1 follow-up as well. There's no kind of weird 3 racks open or anything like that. Off of 2 gases, that would be wild, that would be crazy. And he's going to be starting things off here with a bit of a drop. Widowmine is on the way. I imagine a medevac is going to be coming out momentarily as well from Maru. Oh, there it is. Medevac is on the way. And we'll see how much damage he can get done. If you recall, we were casting last night, and we did see Maru go for a very interesting opener against MaxPax, where Maru only made a single Widowmine, loaded up vanilla Marines, and then he zoomed across the map, getting an insane amount of damage against MaxPax, looking so dominant initially in that series, and it's looking to be the same here. I should also emphasize that Maru did the same build and the same opener 3 games in a row. He did it every game against MaxPax. So now we're seeing it here against Trigger. It seems just to be his comfort zone, his go-to opener at the moment in TvP. Of course, Maru has the ability to do whatever he wants, and he can, of course, have a lot of variety as well. Yeah, it does seem to be going for this quite often recently, As first, Reaper does head towards a natural base and is going to be looking for some economic damage. Does get 1 probe, distracts the Stalkers while the drop goes into the main base. Again, only 1 Widowmine, but the Widowmine is designed to zone away the Stalkers, and the Marines go ham on those workers. So far, the boys have been pulled away. The Windmine doing a decent job at zoning, and oh, it is going to get shot into the gas geyser. No damage done yet. The Marines are going to focus fire some of those probes. It looks like they get 2 workers, but only 2 workers. A good cleanup here by Trigger, minimizing his losses. Did lose some mining time as he had to pull away those workers in the main, but he was able to, again, really minimize those losses and is able to retain himself. Is able to hold on behind this. It wasn't just a mine drop. We do have Banshees on the way here from Maru as well. This is a bit of a give and take. It can be risky to go for Banshees as a follow-up because this will delay your Raven, and Ravens, they do hold a pivotal role here in the matchup. We'll see if it becomes worth it. So far, the Marine mine drop only got 2 workers. Wasn't quite the damage that he was looking for, but here we go. The Banshee is diving on in. We do have an observer, but it is across the map. Uh-oh. It's not here yet. An observer's in production as we speak. Stalkers are in position, but probes are going down. 3 workers already. I believe there is a 2nd Banshee in production as well. I think that's actually a 3rd Banshee, if I'm not mistaken. And 4 probes, already a great amount of damage done here. An observer has now arrived, but, I mean, it's a little bit too late. The Banshee is now in that dead space. As another Banshee is revealed here on the front lines. The tank push is on the horizon. No 3rd CC yet from Maru. He's going to be focusing on his push. It is going to be spotted by Trigger. He's going to try to slow it down. Oh, at the same time, he slips into the main base as well. Trigger may be losing some probes, but likewise, Maru's going to be losing some SCVs. I spoke too soon. There is a defensive Banshee. We're actually continuing Banshee production, by the way. Oh my god. The Banshees, they just do not stop. Oh. As we do see Maru just pushing through the center. Again, he was slowed down a little bit. Oh god, we're going to try to focus down those tanks, but again, a hot pickup from Maru. Good juggling coming out from him. He sieges up those tanks and he's getting within range of the 3rd base. Ugh. And I don't know if Trigger can really deal with this. He has an Immortal in production, but that 3rd is taking a lot of damage. Tanks shelling away at the army. The Banshees providing so much support. I believe there are 4 Banshees now on the field, 3 of them here on the front lines, and they're doing so much DPS here to the army. Stalkers, they do come in from behind. Can we get a tank? We're not, no. Oh, actually, we're going to be able to get one of those tanks with that Immortal. But the rest of the army has fallen. The Banshees are still standing strong as well. These Banshees, again, they just add so much DPS to this army. We have 3 observers, which is great and all, but maybe just an overcommitment to the observers, not enough Immortal production. 3rd base is going to be going down, and Maru is snowballing out of control. Very similar to the series that Trigger had against Gumiho, where Trigger, he just wanted to get into the mid-game, pup. He just wanted to play some StarCraft, but alas, Maru says no. As with this very powerful timing, able to just steamroll his way through. Behind this, he has +1, Stim on the way. Still no 3rd CC, but he doesn't need it. GG gets called, and Maru will take game number 1. GG again, a very strong, a very powerful build there from Maru. You can see how many layers there are to it, but we have the initial mine drop that goes in to do some damage. We have the follow-up Banshee harass as well that just distracts Trigger, keeps his attention at home while we go into the 2 base. I almost want to say all in from Maru, pushing out across the map and just crippling Trigger then and there. Alas, it did feel like Trigger was 1 step behind. It felt like he was playing catch up for a lot of what he was scouting. And again, I do feel like getting into the mass observers as well did slow down his overall Immortal production, did slow down his ability to deal with those tanks. And really interesting as well that in the middle of that, if you remember, Trigger was trying to harass across the map with his Adepts, but there were even Banshees back at home to defend, and they were doing surprisingly well. Surprisingly a pretty good unit overall to help deal with that and to help deal with Maru. So sorry, to help deal with the harassment. So yeah, really impressive stuff from Trigger. Sorry, from Maru. Really impressive build. I apologize, I was just a little bit distracted. But yeah, now we're going to be getting ready for game number 2. Also, Kuro, I don't know if you want to come in game. Because there was a little bit of stuttering there. If it does continue, we may just go into the games themselves. But otherwise, we'll be working on the clean feed for now. Hopefully, everything's okay. as we do see those vetoes. We're going to be getting ready here for game number 2. Going to be taking place on Ancient System on a bit of a larger map, and I imagine Trigger is going to be having a bit of a better time on this map. Again, I'm sure he just wants to get into a 3-base economy. That was the story of last night as well against Gumiho. He wants to play some StarCraft, and these Terrans, they're stopping him at every turn. Ay. Smoge, Bobby, Smoge. Oh. But for now, we'll see. We'll see how that all comes to pass. You can also see the vetoes where Maru, he vetoed what we typically expect, Near Humanity and Altitude, some of the more turtly maps in the map pool. Likewise, Babylon and Dragon Scales as well from Trigger. Oh boy, looking at the standings, again, if we can't take this series, Trigger is going to have a hard time at getting out of this group. And here he is in the top right-hand corner. For All Inside Gaming, it is Maru. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner from Canada, for Team Basilisk, it is Trigger. Once again, another double gas opener from Maru. And if yesterday said anything about Maru's TvP, I imagine that he's going to be going for the same opener, going for the initial Widow Mine into the medevac, into that Marine drop as well. It has been actually quite flexible. We saw Maru even utilize that against a Stargate opener from Max Packs yesterday, with mixed success. To be fair, it did do a little bit less. It had to be a little bit more defensive just because Phoenixes had hit the field because of the Stargate opener. So yeah, we'll see how Trigger is able to adapt here and how Maru responds. So now Trigger's just going to be a little bit annoying. It's going to be just trying to be a little bit of a nuisance here at the natural base of Maru for as long as he can. Likewise, across the map, standard opener from Trigger as well. Oh. And yeah, so far everything's looking quite normal. At least there were no proxies. Once again, no proxy Raxes, no proxy Pylon for Stargate play. Everything is looking normal for the time being, in the openers at least. Which is kind of what we expect. I mean, for the most part. Maru, he's willing to be crazy every now and then. He's willing to be wild, Bob. Aye. But yeah, for now, we do see Maru actually is going to be mixing things up here. Does go for a Hellion first instead of that Widow Mine. Reaper is going to be dancing with the probes. And it's going to be a Twilight Council opener coming up from Trigger once again, just like game number 1. Oh, and it isn't just Hellions. We have continued Reaper production as well. So a much more aggressive opener here from Maru with the abundance of Reapers and Hellions. He's going to be looking to bust into the natural base, get into a mineral line, and get some economic damage done. Even if there is a wall at the natural base, that's the purpose of the Reapers. You can knock those adepts out of position, or the Stalker, or whatever unit there happens to be, and you can get into the mineral line. The Reapers were spotted by the Adept, so Trigger is aware for the most part of what is going on. They should be getting ready back at home. We have a safety shield battery on the way at the natural base. He's on the way back at home. Maru, he's just working on his expansion. Reapers are dipping into the main. Trigger not quite in position. No shield battery in the main base. The Stalkers are busy at the natural instead, and probes are going down. 3, 4, soon to be 5 probes falling. This is already an insane amount of damage. Oh, okay, only 4. Meanwhile, at the same time, the Hellions, they dive into the natural, but there's a shield battery. Despite that, the splash damage is doing a lot here to the mineral line, and a lot of probes are going down. 7 in total, and it isn't just 7 workers going down, but the majority of the Reapers and Hellions survive as well. I believe only 1 Reaper and 1 Hellion went down, so a very efficient trade coming in from Maru, and he is not done behind this. It is going to be Cloak Banshees once again. Aye. The aggression just doesn't stop from Maru. Trigger is going to be following up with the Robo, as to be expected, to start Immortal production, start working towards Colossus at some point. We'll also grant him access to detection once he does need that. And Maru is going to be dipping in here with a Banshee. Cloak is about to finish up. Detection not available yet, and there it is. Cloak is revealed, and now we're going to deny a lot of mining time here at the natural base. Not like this, Papi, not like this. Basically, a one-base economy for Trigger is going to try to do what he can here to, chrono out that Observer to deal with this Banshee, but again, so much more damage is now done. Behind this Maru, he's sending his reinforcements towards that third base as well. Trigger is trying to keep up. He doesn't have Blink, of course, with his Stalkers. And, good. Here comes that follow-up push. This time, there are less tanks to work with, but we do have a couple of SCVs. There we go. Bunkers are being thrown down. This third base is looking very exposed, and it is... I do think it's going to be going down. A couple of Stalkers do rock up here to try to keep it alive, to try to contest against the army of Maru. But this tank positioning is just too good. The army as well. The third base goes down. And it looks like Maru isn't done. I assumed that he was going to back off and go back home, but no, he's going to try to leapfrog his way forward. He's going to try to head towards that natural as well. Maru, he has no chill, papi. Additional Banshees show up here to help reinforce. Stim and +1 on the way. And as Maru tries to expand over at that triangular third base location, I don't know if he's ever really going to be able to even saturate that base. He's just being cut off from it. And Maru is edging ever closer towards the natural. The Robo is exposed. With the death of that Robo, there aren't going to be any Immortals this time. Without Immortals, it's going to be difficult to, not just to bust down the tanks, but also bust down the bunkers as well. Trigger going to try to set us around. He does blink over towards the right-hand side. Actually going to try to catch some reinforcements. Unfortunately, he won't be able to, but he can collapse on the army. Charge, though, barely just starting. It's going to take a while for that to really kick in. As Maru sends out a Hellion, and he's going to check and confirm the third base that has just been taken by Trigger. Meanwhile, across the map, does Maru have anything at home to defend? He should have additional tanks. And yeah, he's got 2 tanks. Raven is going to get sniped. Very nice pick off here from Trigger. But he is being pushed away. Shield batteries are now up and running. Can Trigger hold on to this third? I want to believe, Papi. I want to believe. I mean, so far, Maru isn't threatening anything, at least. And he's in between the bases, but he's not, doing any damage to the natural or the third. Not yet. His reinforcements are stuck at home. And Maru is working on his own third. He's macroing out of this. He's not all in. A charge is now done. We do see Trigger collapsing on this army. He does get on top of the tanks. Oh, and the tanks are going to go down. They do get a lot of volleys off, but we have an overcharge coming into play. And it looks like Trigger, he should have enough to deal with this. Yeah, there's no repair for the bunkers. It will eventually be all cleaned up. Maru is sending reinforcements across the map, which I'm not too sure how I feel about that, I'll be honest. As we do see the army rotating over. Yeah, there's just too much here anyway. I assume that maybe there would be enough Stalkers to hold on to the third base, and maybe Maru would overextend, but he's just gotten such a big lead. Like, Trigger, he's been stuck on a 2-base economy for far too long, and this third Nexus is going to go down. And just like that, Maru, it's just too much. He will take the series 2-0, taking down Trigger. GG. GG, well played. A strong start here from Maru. Trigger, he's had a really rough group, and I think with that loss, I don't think he can make it out of the group anymore, even if he does win the next 2 games. So my condolences to Trigger. He can still impact the group, as he still has a couple more matches ahead of him against some of the other big players. So he could still influence that at least. But GG, well played. Maru just having a very powerful TvP, very powerful 2-base play coming out from Maru. And yeah, with that, he's able to take his first 2-0 here of the night. And hopefully for Maru, the first of many, because again, he did have a rough showing last night, and he needs these wins here to make it out. Oh. With that, we are also going to be going on a short break. Our next series is going to be Max Pax versus Cell, a PvZ over on the European server. See you then.